Welcome back to Mouthpiece. This episode is brought to you by Boxing Boys NFT. Mouthpiece, the home of unfiltered boxing. This episode is brought to you by Boxing Boys. Boxing Boys is a 3D animated NFT collection made up of 5,005 unique boxing characters, combining the real world of boxing with the digital revolution through a play-to-earn game. Each Boxing Boy has its own unique skill set, and upon collection becomes a playable character. Right, let's get him. In the blue corner, it's me, Savage Dan. In the red corner is Money Mace. Mm-hmm. Mace, what a weekend.
What a weekend.
But before we get on to that, you've got some announcements.
Got a couple ticket announcements. So tickets are now live for March 26. That's Richard Riakporhe on his path to a world title.
That's the cruiserweight card.
Yeah, that is the cruiserweight card. Main event, Richard Riakporhe, Fabio Turchi. Co-main event, it's the big one, massive domestic fight. Mikael Lawal versus Dion Juma.
Big fight.
Big cruiserweight card. On to April 2nd, we've got Savannah Marshall. She's making her defense of the WBO world title against Femke Hermans. That's going to be a very, very good fight.
And interesting because it could set up, or should set up, hopefully.
It should be setting up the big one. It should be setting it up. So fingers crossed Savannah not only gets through it, but does it in style.
Yeah.
That's just going to tee up a massive, massive summer fight. Who else is on that card? Aaron Chalmers is making his pro debut. He's going to speak to him in a little bit.
Perfect.
And then Florian Marku versus Chris Jenkins.
That's a good fight. That's another good fight.
Yeah.
That's another good fight.
Very, very big fight.
Are we announcing the Boxer Series?
Boxer Series is back. The long-awaited return of the Boxer Series, April 16th in Coventry. It's looking like it's going to be lightweight, so should be an interesting one. I don't know about any fighters just yet, but that's coming soon. But yeah.
Do you know why I'm looking forward to that? Because it was... obviously we've just had a crazy February.
Yeah.
But before that crazy February, my favourite night has been the Boxer Series.
Yeah, in Liverpool, yeah. Sick night, wasn't it?
It was just such a sick night. It was like wrestling.
Yeah.
Like it had that much drama.
Yeah.
Even in the build-up, fighters not knowing who they're going to fight. Mm-hmm. It'll be interesting to see how we do it this time. I feel like we can do something that makes it even more dramatic in the build-up.
Well, in the build-up, I would love to do, on the media day, is do gloves are off, but all 8 fighters round one table and just let them start firing off on each other, talking rubbish to each other.
We'll have to call it something else.
We'll fight, we should.
Gloves are on.
The gloves are off type setup. But I think with all 8 fighters, we've seen Sky do it before when it was like super middleweight.
Do you know what was quite good about the last one? And I'm hoping it will have the same kind of theme this time, is that a lot of the fighters knew each other, had either sparred each other, fought each other before.
Yeah.
So they knew a lot about each other. Mm-hmm. Hopefully we get something similar in this one, and then it just makes for more drama.
Yeah. But yeah, so April 16th, Coventry, Boxer Series. Yeah, 3 fight nights coming up there with a lot more to come.
Yeah. I feel like you was going to give another one, but don't. That's enough.
We've got enough free shows there, so head over to boxer.com for those tickets. And we'll see you there.
And just a quick one, just whilst we're here.
Mm-hmm.
We have all 3 shows have been sold out, totally sold out. Like, there's no point asking for a ticket, kind of sold out. What a big February we've had, and it's just like it's just the perfect springboard for what's to come. We've got a big year ahead.
Yeah.
Aaron, thanks for joining us. Welcome to the world of boxing. Why now?
Do you know what? So, you see, the MMA, I was given such a good opportunity and I messed it up. Like, I was probably training 60% of what I should have been. I was going out weeks before the fight and I didn't take it serious. And then, obviously, the COVID hit and I quit the MMA and I thought, it's something I always look back on and regret. Obviously, I always thought I was better suited to the boxing. So, I thought, I'm 34. I'm no spring chicken, so this is my last chance to learn to do something and give it 100% rather than look back with regret if I don't do it.
Better late than never. You've joined up with Adam Booth. It doesn't get much better than that as a trainer. Have you? We always hear how good he is as a trainer from all the boxers. Have you learnt a lot since working with him?
Do you know what it is? So when I went there, obviously, I had never really boxed. I just done like boxing through MMA. So it was literally stripped back to starting fresh. So the movements and everything, watching the fighters around is, I think I've learned a lot, and hopefully that will show come fight night.
I mean, you're going to be performing in front of thousands of your own fans. Obviously, it's a homecoming for you. It's going to be a massive atmosphere. What's that? I mean, you're obviously going to have, a little bit of experience of that, having fought in Bellator, but is anything going to be able to compare to what it's going to be like in Newcastle?
Do you know, like you say, I fought in Newcastle on Bellator, and it's madness. I'm so excited because I know how good the Newcastle fans are, and obviously it's my debut, so the nerves. If I was elsewhere around the country, they'd probably be kicking in now. But because it's Newcastle, I just can't wait to get these 5 weeks over with, get in there and have a fight.
Any predictions? You going for a knockout?
100%. 100. The thing is, the way I look at it is, the quicker you get in there and get the job done, the quicker you can get the next fight booked in. So that's what I'm living by. Get in there and get out as quick as possible and get the next one booked in. Because, like we said, I'm no spring chicken, so I haven't got that many years to get the fights in. That's
what we like to hear, though. At least you've got not that much mileage in boxing years. That can buy you some time.
100%. Like you say, it's not like I've done it for 15, 20 years and been taking the shots to the head. So it's going to be probably a mad 3 years, probably maximum. Like, hopefully get double figures in the fights. But I think there's some big fights. Obviously, I know I'm not going to be a world champion. I can happily hand on heart say that. And I'm not coming in here to be a world champion. But there's some exciting fights along the way with how boxing's going. So I'm in here to have some cracking fights, put on some good shows, and the most important thing is to enjoy myself.
A quick 3 years, a big 3 years. Are you looking at particular names or specific, aspirations? What are you trying to achieve?
There is a few names, but obviously I'm not going to mention it because I haven't had a fight yet, so I'm not going to start shouting names from the rooftops when I haven't had one fight. I think we'll get the first one out of the way, and then I think we'll start having a pathway of how we want it to go. I mean, I would love to finish with maybe a Northern Area title fight in a couple of years. Do you know what I mean? I mean, that might not be big to some people, but for someone who only started boxing 18 months ago, that's quite a big deal for me. Jeez. To have a Northern Area title on the last fight in Newcastle would be probably the icing on the cake. But before that, I think there's some big names, like people that have been on TV like myself and stuff, that we can try and fight. So yeah, I have a plan, and I'll let you know more once I've got the first fight out the way.
I'm looking forward to hearing it. Listen, it's been great talking to you. We will see you in Newcastle for Fight Week.
Good man. I see you soon.
Thank you. Whilst we're here, we're obligated. We have to talk about what just happened this weekend. I like to be a positive person. Mm-hmm. So I'd like to start with the positives.
Okay. The
positives it was a ridiculous atmosphere in Glasgow.
Although it's 12,000, yeah, I think pound for pound, it might have been louder than Manchester,
It was I don't know, but
I'm talking pound for pound, like when you got 12,000, it felt nearly just big, as much as 20,000.
But do you know what I noticed as I walked in there? I remember saying it to Baz. That's a new stadium.
Yeah.
Or a new arena, a newish.
Yeah.
In comparison. And I remember looking up when it was empty. And obviously I'm a sound guy. So I know acoustics.
Right, okay.
And I remember looking at the stadium and I was thinking, the bounce in here, the audio bounce, how it feels is going to be big.
Yeah.
Because they take that into consideration now, the atmosphere when they're building things. Mm-hmm. Hence why Tottenham Stadium has won so many awards. It feels like there's 100,000 in there when there's 60. But it's the way that they've shaped it. They've made it almost like a bit of a dome.
I got you.
And it kind of creates a bit of an echo chamber. So 50 people just sound like hundreds of people. So it felt crazy. It did feel like that though.
Yeah, it was. Look, I thought Manchester was amazing, but then just to go to Glasgow would just, the crowd in there was just ridiculous all night. When that was it Flower of Scotland or whatever that song's called, that woman song, that was just like a super special moment before the main event.
Look, it was, let's have it right. We had, and we have, one of the pound for pound best in the world in Josh Taylor. Yeah, he's, for my liking, an underappreciated, underrated fighter, even though people who know boxing know that he is one of the best, 100%.
Yes.
So it's a special occasion just for the fact that he's coming home and he's fighting in Scotland. But all week, starting the Monday where we sat at this table and spoke to Jack Catterall, I'm not sure if I did it on air or when the cameras went off, and I was just like, I've been impressed.
Yeah.
And it carried on all through the week. I'm just like, I've been impressed. Like, there was just something. He's 26-0, so there's no blueprint on how to beat him. He's done everything quite comfortably. And I remember thinking, not that he would beat Josh Taylor, but I remember thinking, this is not the homecoming that people think is going to be.
Yeah.
Because he can fight, and it's probably more dangerous because people don't even know how good he can fight. I watched both their previous 3 fights. As soon as I got into the hotel on Wednesday, I sit down, I watch their fights, and I just try and look for whatever I can look for. And I came up with the conclusion that although Josh was going to win, there would be an argument in it. But I didn't expect this kind of argument.
I think part of the reason is, as you said, Josh is pound for pound one of the best in the world. And yes, Jack is undefeated and he's had some really good fights, but no one's really ever seen a performance like that from him. So it's almost added, the performance sort of added to the shock value. And maybe this is a point that Josh brought up, was the fact that because Jack sort of outperformed himself, it made people sort of sway super heavily to his side.
That is one of the things you do. When somebody does better than you expect them to do, you just start giving them rounds. Especially when you've got commentary sometimes, yeah?
Yes.
Now, we had the privilege of watching that from ringside. We had no commentary. If anything, Josh is a sky fighter. He's a top-ranked fighter, but he's a sky fighter. If anything, he's the home fighter. If we were to watch through, rose-tinted goggles, they'll probably, or rose-tinted glasses, whatever the saying is, it will probably be through Josh Taylor glasses.
Yeah.
Any signs of Josh's success would assume the round goes to him.
Yeah.
Not to mention, he's sitting and only a couple chairs away from me is Todd DeBuff and the top-ranked guys. And you see what I'm saying? If anything, I understand the argument that you definitely, you give points for, somebody overachieving doesn't mean they win the round. But I also feel like in that situation, you score Josh. Anything close, you score Josh. It's like on a Saturday when I play football, if for whatever reason, if it's not a cup match and we haven't got linos, how we do it is if one of our subs is the lino, anything close, you give him a word early doors. Anything close, that's offside. And I feel like that is what we do naturally when we're scoring fights. If it's the home fighter, the favourite, the person who's supposed to win, and it's tight, I think you give him the round. Especially
when it's in their home country. They're the undisputed champion.
Yeah.
We see it time and time again in boxing. It's not the first time this has happened where the challenger has put on a massive performance, but the champion has still got the decision.
Yeah.
To go into not only just a fighter's backyard, but the undisputed champion's backyard, you have to really put on a clinical performance.
Yeah.
Scoring as well can be subjective. It depends how people are seeing the punches, what's really landing. You've got the target areas versus the output.
Is it too subjective though? Because, look, I've said it. I actually looked at that fight, and by the time I looked at the scores, I think I don't remember where I stopped scoring it, but I remember getting to a point and actually thinking Josh needs a stoppage or at least to drop Jack in order to win the fight. I think it might have been after the knockdown in round 8.
Well, even Ben Davidson said the same thing. He was literally picked up on mic saying, you need this KO. This was just before the last round. Is that motivation? Is that them thinking they've lost and they've got to go out for it?
I heard what he said about that. He said it because he knew he needed he knew it was close and he knew he needed the final round. It might be motivation. He might have said it believing it. The only person that is ever going to know that is Ben Davidson.
Yeah.
That's it, And the thing is, from my perspective, Jack Catterall won that fight. And it was close. It was closer than what people think, I think.
Yes.
Now, I say that because you can have a close fight, and that fight could actually be scored 120, 108. Just because it's 120, 108 doesn't mean it's doesn't mean it's not competitive, doesn't mean it's not close. Somebody can edge every round. Now, this is why you can't score fights on damage done, on all that. You got to score them round by round, like literally round by round, which is the interesting thing. So, round by round, I felt like early doors, Jack was really good. He got his timing right. Josh couldn't quite get going. He took his foot off the gas a little bit in the later rounds, probably because he felt like he could.
Yeah.
And I felt like he could, and loads of people felt like he could have.
But that's just something you can't afford to do.
No,
it's just
I don't like
can't.
this notion.
You can't.
I don't like this notion. Like, I'm a boxing fan. Before anything, forget media relations, forget working at Boxer, forget all of this. Before anything, I'm a fan of boxing. So I have to look at this from a fan's perspective. I don't like the notion that you can win the majority of the early rounds and coast, and then people can blame you for coasting.
Yeah.
It's scored round by round.
Yeah.
If you've coasted the last 3, because I remember Eubank got the same criticism. He dominated early, and then he coasted and almost allowed him back into the fight. But it almost seemed like Eubank allowed him into the fight rather than anything else. I don't like the notion that you coasted, so it's your own fault.
Yeah.
I also don't like the fact that I don't like when people say you have to rip the belt from the champion or you need a stoppage. I don't like that because it should be, and we hope it is always a fair fight.
Yeah.
And this is why if they change the ruling on the scoring and all of a sudden at the end we judge the fight at the end of the fight now and not round by round, then it's a whole different case. But if you're scoring round by round, I don't think there should be an issue with having to rip the belt from the champion. Do you see what I'm saying?
I agree. This is just unfortunately how it is with the board, with the judges. They're always going to lean with the home fighter as such. But
we know there is going to be an investigation. I think.
Yeah, Robert Smith has come out and said that they will be investigating. I don't know what can be done now because I don't think there's ever been a fight where, look, in an ideal world, you see it in the Olympics sometimes. If a fighter is stripped of their medal at the Olympics, someone can get like reinstated and stuff, and you can move. It happens in plenty of tournaments all around the world and stuff. But in boxing, I don't think there's ever been an example where.
And you might be able to get a version of it where it's one body, WBA. This was for all
4 plus
the ring, which means every different organization would probably have to have an outside organization come in and look at that fight, and they would all have to come to the same conclusion.
Or does it sit with the British Boxing Board because they're the ones that are responsible for the scoring? It's not like you have WBC judge.
You're not going to see the WBC come out and say, we don't, because it's not just their belt on the line. They're not going to come out and say we're going to do a private investigation into this, and then the WBA and IBF and the WBO are all going to do the same. The board are going to do it, but I wonder what power they have. It's a mandatory, so there was no rematch clause in there. It's very rare. I've never seen a decision overturned,
No, I don't think there has been.
Now, I've seen one. I've sseen one happen in the ring.
Right.
It was Martinez against Edwards,
Oh, yeah.
I believe.
Yeah. Charlie Edwards, yeah.
And
that was after, it was like a...
It went to VAR. Yeah, it went to VAR. And all of a sudden...
Yeah, no, you're right.
It was ruled a no contest on the spot. That's the most drama I've seen in terms of overturning a fight. Generally, once the decision stands, it stands. Unless there's a drugs test that comes out and that's wrong, or something else happens and it becomes a no contest. But even then, it doesn't mean you have to fight again. There'll be a public outcry for that fight to happen again.
Yeah.
Josh has since said he believes he won the fight clearly. Yep. I'm not sure if he's watched it. I'm not sure if that was after he watched it.
Well, he said it at the post-fight interview as well.
But he hadn't watched it. Exactly. He hadn't watched that then.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happens. In an ideal world, you get the rematch, but I just think if Josh just moves up, then the belts are dispersed. In an ideal world, do you then give Jack an immediate mandatory position? But even then, that's for one of the belts.
I think that happens regardless. I think what we've had here is, unfortunately, boxing is about opinions. Yeah. And unfortunately, when you take the opinions out of it, like they've tried to in the Olympics, and they tried to turn it to a point scoring system.
Yeah.
That didn't really work much either. That their computer system was a little bit flawed or whatever it is. Same with VAR in football. These things, every time you try and take the human element out of it, it doesn't necessarily make it that much better.
Yeah.
However, like for example, Lukaku was offside yesterday, and I'm still fuming about that by his sleeve. Yeah. I'm furious. Yeah. Because he would never be in real life if it was a human officiating that. What I mean by this is scoring fights is so subjective, and sometimes what you see and what I see will be two completely different things. We know ring generalship is one of the ways that they score it. We know effective punching or effective aggression, I think it is. Do we need to start looking at the ways that fights are scored, or at least who's scoring them.
Yeah. I think it needs to be a bit of both. I think you need... It's interesting. I think it's in fencing, yeah, and it's different because they wear suits, but it's all computer simulated in terms of the judging and stuff. It's who lands the quickest, who lands the sharpest, who lands more.
Well, if we're looking at that, if we're looking at punch stats, now I'm not sure if what company it was that did the punch stats. It might have been CompuBox. They had Jack outlanding Josh almost 2-1, I think it was. It was around 2-1.
Yeah, I've got them here.
Now, that doesn't tell the story of a fight either, because you could land 10-1 in one round and really dominate a round. That doesn't give you... that doesn't necessarily give you the entire picture of the fight. But when you've watched a fight like we have, and you understand that it wasn't just one flurry where he landed 100 shots in one round and then the rest it went back to a normal tempo, where that was quite systematic. I would love to have a judge here.
Yeah.
I would love to have a judge, because although there's loads of people in there and loads of people online and everywhere that believe Jack won it, two of the people that are most qualified to score this fight didn't.
Yeah.
And I want to know why. That's it. As in, if you can give me where... I've watched the fight again last night closely, and usually I thought it might bring me a little bit closer, but I actually ended up with the exact same score that I had ringside. So I want to know what I'm missing, or I want to know if they are missing something, or I want to know how we can improve this.
Yeah, why can't judges almost do their own post-fight press conference in circumstances where it's needed, and they sit down and they break down round by round why they thought this round went to this person and X, Y, Z, and and they do get held accountable. In football, if a judge has a bad decision, they're slated all over the papers, but it's the judges. In boxing, the whole sport gets tarnished with it. So I do think there needs to be something done with the judges.
The thing is, with football, there is one regulation. There's the FA. We don't have that in boxing. Boxing is very fractured, and there's different things happening in different places within the sport. You've got all these different promotional companies, all using different states and different boards and all of this kind of stuff. So there's not one overall ruling body that can kind of oversee things. And generally, because of that, when bad decisions happen, they kind of wait out the storm and it's just on to the next. Now, people are calling this one of the biggest, robberies or whatever it is you want to call it in history, in British boxing history. It's not. It's just the most recent and most fresh one. But I felt the same way about the draw with Triple G and Canelo.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up.
In the first fight.
Yeah.
I felt the same way about Smith and Ryder. And I thought Ryder won, but they gave it to Smith. If you follow boxing, you know well enough that the home fighter does have an advantage. But I'm not sure if we should be always accepting that. The home fighter's advantage should be that he's at home.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be anything else.
Yeah.
And I'm not for, and this isn't Josh Taylor's fault. Josh Taylor has fought 36 minutes.
Yeah.
He's fought his heart out, and I thought at times he proper impressed me because he had to dig.
Yeah.
And he showed that he can do that, and he can tough it out, and he can get rough, because it wasn't going his way.
Yeah.
He couldn't get his timing off when Jack was, especially that first part of the half.
Yeah.
I could see him as he was leaning out the ropes, looking a little bit lost.
Yep.
Like he didn't know what to do with that half shell, because that's the best I've seen someone use a half shell since Mayweather. He didn't quite know. They was looking for the same shots.
Yeah.
He wanted to get his left hand going, but Jack almost wanted him to get his left hand off so he could counter with something to the body. And it was fascinating, but it's nothing to do. Josh didn't fight 36 minutes and then get out of the ring and write those scorecards himself. That's nothing to do with him.
Yeah.
Whether people like or believe his interviews afterwards where he's saying he won it clearly, that's just the fighter in him. If you've watched him over the years, you'll know that is his personality anyway. He might have watched the fight back and changed his mind. He might have watched it back and thought, nah, man, that was where I'm winning the fight. The problem is that boxing is subjective. And but it shouldn't be a reason to hide behind things when we don't need to. I think it was a good call from Robert Smith to have this investigated, the scoring investigated, but it's not the first time scoring's been investigated.
I've not seen a sort of a comeback from the boxing audience to being like, no, this has to be investigated. There has to be something done. I've never quite seen such a sway of momentum for something like this.
Yeah.
I think when it's all said and done, the boxing board will figure it out and stuff, and Jack's never going to get that crowning moment like he could have had in the ring on Saturday night.
But does this... All right, here, just being a positive person again, does things happen in the way they happened? Does that shine a bigger light on Jack than if he just got the decision?
So what I was going to say is, well, regardless of what happens, Jack's stock has gone through the roof now. All of a sudden, he went from someone that not many people really know. If you're a boxing fan and big into British boxing, then of course you know who Jack Catterall is. But wider than that, people don't necessarily know him. That was just the reality of it before this fight. On Monday morning, every single person in sport, even probably outside of it,
and across the pond, everyone who was looking at Josh Taylor thinking, this is the guy who's coming up to 147, he's going to try and challenge all of us, would have woken up, or not woken up, because it would have been midday or whatever it is. They would have been like, whoa, who's this? That's another name that people are now beginning to recognise. So I think win or lose, he won.
I was so impressed with him though. I thought that jab was so sharp. I thought the backhand was slick. He was comfy in the pocket. He was happy to get against the rope or get in the corner. And he would just sit there, wait for his opportunity, slip and pivot out and go again.
He was good.
He was dictating really the pace. He was counter-punching as well. He was beating
He was good. He looked comfortable in there.
Josh to everything.
And Josh, I'm impressed with the fact that he faced that adversity, especially when he got dropped in round 8.
Yeah.
And it did, both shots kind of were not glancing shots, but like top of the head, balance as much as as the shot doing the damage. But like once you get hit there, the equilibrium does shake a little bit. It's weird. It's like, I was impressed with how after him getting dropped, he actually, that was his best period of the fight.
Yeah, it was.
9, 10, 11, 12 were the rounds where I think I might have given him all of them. So, but I'm not sure if I gave him anything apart from round 2 to that point.
Yeah. Do you think maybe there's a possibility that Josh just completely overlooked Jack, just wasn't expecting too much of him? That's why Jack was able to just completely impose himself at the start, and it wasn't until we got the knockdown that Josh thought, like, oh, I need to get myself back in this now.
Maybe, I don't know. I think when you're
and it was almost the wake up he needed.
Maybe it did wake him up because he started just walking him down and knowing that he's gonna have to take shots for the cute stuff. But what I don't think he overlooked him, but I just think Jack's style is super duper awkward.
But that was not a style we've even seen from Jack before. Like that was a
Philly half shell. Like it was
and it was perfect. It was so nice to watch.
So I thought, I mean, I'm sure everyone thought, maybe even including Josh, that he would come out in a more conventional stance and try and do the stuff that Josh does, but better than Josh.
Yeah.
And he almost did it in a certain way, but when he came out and he was kind of just sitting, almost waiting for the left hand to come over the top, that was and he was swinging his round the side. He didn't even really throw that many straights, and if they were just pop 1-2s.
Yeah.
Like he popped him with 1-2s quite well. Look, it was a brilliant performance. I don't think Josh overlooked him, because every time, I know it's easy to say it, that I'm not overlooking my opponent, but there has to be a small part of you that is keeping one eye on the future, of course, because it's just naturally what you do as a human. I beat him, it opens that to that. And you try your hardest to say to people that, no, I'm focusing just on that, because it's, what you should say. We've done enough press conferences and it's been around fighters enough time to know that a lot of time around fight week and around fights, and every time they're speaking to somebody where they know it's going to end up on YouTube, they are going to say similar stuff. A lot of fighters say the same thing. I've got to focus on that, and we'll see what happens. We know the same lines that come out of fighters.
You can say that, but I think you just subconsciously, especially when Josh, look, it was no there was no hiding from anyone that Josh was struggling down at 140. We see him on the scales on the Friday. His eyeballs are super sucked down. He just looked drawn out. He just looked.
That I mean, nobody will be surprised. Everyone would expect that to be his last fight at 140, and that's regardless of whether this situation with the scorecards happened or not.
If you're Josh, can you leave 140 feeling content? And a sub question: does it even matter? Like he's walking away with the belts now. for him, he knows what he's done.
How many fight? I'll tell you why it's sad for Jack, yeah, because a lot of fighters and great fighters have this kind of lucky win, yeah. Mayweather had it against Castillo.
Yeah.
Loads of fighters. I mean, Canelo's had it a couple of times. You know, I thought he's got lucky more than a couple of times, but the house always wins. You know, it's just how it goes. Yeah. I think if you're Josh, you'd be ecstatic with what you've achieved at 140. Yeah. Yes, it might have not been the crowning homecoming that you expected it to be and wanted it to be, but that's life, you know. Like, to be fair, you're a lucky boy that you actually got the decision and left. I actually thought when those scorecards came out, I thought the Howard Foster card was a bit close. I thought, oof. I was like, I went oof to that card, and that was the one that had Jack Catterall winning.
Me too. The second I heard 113, 112, was it 113, 112?
Yes.
The second I heard that, I thought that's too close for my liking. Yeah. But I was like, right, let's just see where the second one goes. 114, 111 to Josh. I was thinking, oh my days,
yeah, and then
happening.
That's it, yeah.
Because I was ringside, just filming it on my phone, and there were people murmuring, being like, they've given it to Josh. But I was thinking, nah, they've, like, you know, they couldn't have done.
Yeah, it was taking a long time to get those cards out.
It was a long time, and then 113, 112, 114, 111. I thought, I know exactly where this is going now. I know where this is going, but where does it leave the sport? Because
it's not good for the sport. Let's be honest. I went on Twitter and it was a mess on there, innit?
Did you see what was trending? It was like
the top 5.
It was like boxer, boxing, ridiculous, corruption, heartbreak, robbery.
Yeah.
I was thinking, Jesus Christ. But like
that's the thing, it gripped the nation, you know, and it shows, look, we're doing big numbers.
Yeah.
So everyone was watching that fight, you know. We know how big that fight was for both men, you know, because that was supposed to be both of their crowning moment. And it went like that, and because of it, you're going to get a huge outcry. But I do have an issue with the fact that I haven't spoken to anybody who thinks, I haven't physically had contact with anyone. I've seen a couple of people online, but I feel like they're Josh Taylor fans, and I'm a Josh Taylor fan. I'm a Josh Taylor fan. I love Josh Taylor, but I love boxing. Yeah. And I love, and the thing about boxing fans is probably more so than football fans or any other sports. They challenge themselves to know more and know this sport better than anybody else. So there will have been plenty of people sitting at home scoring that fight, scoring it, and they would have come up with a number quite far away with what Ian John Lewis came up with. Yeah. And that's the issue we have, that everybody is being told effectively that they're wrong. Yeah. You know, and it is subjective, but I don't know how we fix it. I don't know how to get that and sort that out, because
my worry is, go on.
A close fight is a close fight. I have no problem with it. I did know a lot of people that thought Triple G didn't win against Golovkin. Yeah. So as long as there's enough people that are against me, I can see that. All right, cool. It's obviously I'm not. My opinion is not the be all and end all, but it feels like the vast majority of people saw the same thing.
Yeah, this was super one-sided, and my worry for the sport is you've got people being like, I'm never watching boxing again. I'm never watching Boxer.
No watch.
You'll be watching in a couple of weeks when we're in London. You'll be watching whatever card it is. Yeah, like that's not the casual fan. Isn't what worries me. It's the likes of the younger kids, either starting on the sport or coming through the amateur circuits.
Do you know what I'm more worried about?
Well, let me just say, because Jamie Moore, his son, has just started picking up boxing again, right? And he said and Jamie Moore's son said to Jamie, like, I'm not really feeling boxing now, because it's like you can literally work. Jack has been a boxer since he was like 13 or 14, right? Yeah. Been boxing his whole life, let mandatory positions slide, waited for his opportunity, grafted for years and years and years. Yeah. You get to that moment, you put on a career best performance, and you still don't get the decision. And how can you tell an amateur kid? How can you tell someone, oh no, stay with it, it's worth it?
Kids are okay because kids heal fast.
Maybe.
And you can. And people are forgetful. So in 2 weeks' time, this will be a non-topic.
You think? I don't think this is going to go away.
No, it won't go away. But people will keep a close eye on it. But they'll let this one go. But this will be a reference point.
But how many more times?
Future, exactly.
How many more times does it need to happen? Like,
Look, I don't.
You see it on the flip side though.
Yeah.
Ebony Jones. she got a draw against Effie Cathapuli.
Where she probably could have got a win.
Yeah. If you are saying, oh yeah, no, it's always weighted to the home fighter, that's not the case.
Mate,
because Ebony got a draw.
Exactly.
Steve Robinson took a loss.
Exactly.
If that was really within our interest to give all the home fighters the deciding victory just because that's what we can do.
Oh
you
yeah.
would see it.
You
would see it all the time.
You can see it from Ben after the fight.
Yeah.
Anyone who thinks that, you know, it was anything to do with boxer or dodgy dealings or anything like that, definitely not.
That's part of the issue though, because fans don't see that, and
Yeah.
the amount of slander that we're getting online when it's
Oh,
literally.
are they on us?
Are they on us?
Oh no.
I didn't want to put up a post yesterday because I was just like, there's no point. If there could be a dislike button, yeah, we would have got about 1 million dislikes. People just see it and think
Engagement is engagement.
That's what I was saying as well, though. Like, our followers have gone off the roof.
Look, when it's all said and done, we are. I mean, Josh is a top ranked fighter.
Yes.
Yeah. And Jack Catterall is not a boxer fighter.
Yeah.
So we don't have genuine, outrageous bias towards anyone. And even if we did, it wouldn't make us able to tell the judges what they're seeing.
Yeah.
That's not. Otherwise we would tell the judges, nah, Steve Robinson won that, mate. Can you put that as a Steve Robinson win? And we'll do the same for Ebony Jones. That's her second professional bout. Can you just give her a...
Yeah, exactly.
That's not how it works. I know it looks from the outside like that's how it works, but it's not how it works. So I'd like to quash the allegations of boxer being involved in any corruption. We're actually here to make this a better, cleaner, more accessible, better sport.
Exactly.
That's what we're here for, and this is why you hear us talking on this podcast so freely, and I'm hoping we don't get called into the board and getting any kind of... I think I've been quite sophisticated.
I think we've been okay. Like, another thing, yeah, if we're trying to say from a business perspective, you know, who should have won, if Jack wins, you set up a rematch, you do it in the summer, you do it all over again, and it's even bigger than it was the first time. I mean, there's more money to be made doing that.
My thing is this, yes, but I think win, lose or draw, Josh was always leaving the 140 division on Saturday.
Yeah.
He never looks great on the scale at 140. Let's be honest. He's a huge boy for it.
Yeah.
But that one looked a step one too far. Yeah. And as you get older, it gets tougher and tougher and tougher to make these weights. It's just simple. You know, I'm sure he's taller and bigger than Terence Crawford, who's campaigning at 147. Yeah. Everyone told him he was too small for 147. It makes the world a difference, man. If you're coming down that much weight. I spoke to him on a Thursday and I saw him on a Friday, and it was chalk and cheese. You know, you take off a lot of weight in that 24 hours and you throw it back on. Some people say it's the best way to do it. If you're not struggling to make weight, then you're in the wrong weight division. But I think that regardless of what happened yesterday on Saturday, Josh Taylor, that was his last fight. Yeah. At 140.
So I don't think we're never going to see Taylor Catterall 2, are we?
I don't know. I want it
because Jack's not going to go up to 147.
Well,
Jack just isn't a big enough boy for that. Right, he's not even paper thin. At 140.
I know. Let's look at the numbers. Yeah. So Jack Catterall's stock has just gone up, and in the UK there will be cries, and those cries will be heard abroad as well, for the rematch to happen.
Yep.
I wonder if, you know, Josh sails off into the sunset, goes to 147 and tries to fight a contender up there, and then goes for a world title. If their cries will always be bigger for Jack Catterall to fight him than it would for Ugas to fight him.
Yeah.
I wonder what the money looks like. I just wonder. I want to see that again.
Especially when the likes of Crawford is probably nearing the end of his career within the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Ugas and Spence. Ugas is getting on a little bit.
Yeah.
Spence has probably got a couple of years, but he's big for 147.
He's massive he can't stay there for much longer.
So he might move up, and maybe Jack is what, 29, I believe he is.
I think he's 28.
28 years old. Yeah. So he's still got a long time left in the sport, and. Yeah. You know, if he gets a new strength and conditioning coach, puts on the pounds a little bit, goes up to 147. It's horrible to see.
We're looking at his record. I just don't like the 26-1, where I don't think he should have it.
But you look at the 140 division, UK scene. There's not much for Jack Catterall to really be focusing on, because Josh is number 1. Jack is number 2.
Yeah.
Ahara Davies is number 3, and he's already dispatched of him and Tyrone McKenna. So I don't think.
Look, these belts are gonna get scattered. Yeah. Let's be honest. We know Josh is not staying at 140.
No.
Josh is gonna go. Those belts are gonna get fragmented. Let's hope that all of these organizations see a bit of sense and make Josh either mandatory for a vacant title or make him. You know, if he wants to stick around at 140, he can go and collect these belts now. He's proven himself at world level. He is a nightmare for anyone to fight. My only problem is, or my only concern is that, can Jack Catterall do that again? Now, Jamie Moore will be able to give the answer and be like, no, that's how good he performs anyway. You know, like that's his level. Yeah. But sometimes you fight better depending on who your opponent is, and sometimes you give flat performances, etc., etc. I hope that isn't the top, but it can't be at 28. Can you imagine the belief? Because he would have gone in there knowing what he does in sparring, but not knowing if he could really mix it with the guy. This isn't some accident. Yeah. Josh Taylor has battered everyone at 140. He mixed it with the guy. Most people think he won. So now maybe you grow a couple of inches.
Oh, yeah.
And you know how good you are. And because of it, you become an even better fighter because of it. He's going to be a world champion regardless. I would have liked to see him have the opportunity to be undisputed, and now he's gonna have to go the tough route, the route that Josh went. But at least there's good fights out there. Everyone else in that division is now on red alert. Regis Prograis, I'm not sure what he's doing at number. What's he at? Number 4 in there. I think he should be a little bit higher. But I fancy Jack Catterall against all of them.
Look, with a performance like that. But then
Regis Prograis is always going to be a tough man because that could have swung either way with Josh as well.
Is it Josh just doesn't know how to deal with southpaws?
Because he's fought enough of them. Ramirez is southpaw as well?
Orthodox. Oh. But Prograis gave him...
Have they got that right?
One of his tough... what, is Ramirez southpaw?
Yeah, I don't
Is he really?
Am I thinking of the wrong?
But...
Let's get him on YouTube.
Regis Prograis is obviously southpaw and bust up Josh's face and, gave one of his toughest nights.
Yeah. Just go to one of his fights and let's have a quick YouTube.
But yeah, if you're Jack, let's just hope that.
Look, if you're Jack, you go back to the dressing room. You know he's heartbroken. He's crying in there, but there has to be the most ridiculous sense of pride. I remember when I keep going back to football, but when you're just getting bad results, but it's bad refereeing decisions, VAR, everything going against you, and in those kind of moments, that's where Mourinho says. We're that dangerous that everyone's out. Oh no, he's orthodox. Yeah. Everyone's out to get us. Everyone's out to get us. It's me against the world. Sometimes when you can adopt that me against the world thing, or me against boxing, because it seems the world's behind him. Yeah. But sometimes when you adopt that, it makes you bigger, more confident. You just get a bit of a, I don't know, like a spring in the step.
We say momentum is always a big thing, yeah. You've got it's a hard one and an interesting one for Jack because you've got the momentum of the performance that really should propel you. You will now take on so much experience and so much, just he put on literally one of the best performances I've seen recently against an undisputed champion.
That's one of the best, as in underdog performances I've seen. Full stop.
Yeah.
I'm thinking at any weight in any country, I've not seen somebody who people didn't expect that from to come and give that kind of performance. I haven't seen that for ages. I'm trying to think of the last time I was surprised like that. Like it was
not with the points decision as well. Like you get your shocks and stuff, and you get.
I mean, so like even I remember feeling like that with Joe Joyce, for example, but that was a much closer fight than this, even on paper. Yeah. I'm trying to think of the last time I saw an upset that was this upsetting. It wasn't an upset because he didn't leave the belts, but do you know what I mean? When the underdog
like that
has performed so well, and people really didn't expect it. Even the ones where Pacquiao has gone to Australia and lost and all of that, they were still. Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of many.
Let's just have a look.
You're going for the biggest upsets in history.
Just to see what could have really come.
I mean, you're looking at like maybe
or robbery. No, because that's something different. Yeah, upsets.
Upsets, you'd be looking at Rahman against Lewis.
Yeah. Buster Douglas versus Mike Tyson. Ruiz versus AJ.
Yep. Yes. But even that's different. Knocking someone out.
Leon Spinks versus Ali. That was massive.
Listen, knocking someone out in boxing is just part of it. You see what I'm saying? You can knock out the favourite. One shot does it. Martinez did it the other day. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about an accomplished performance.
Yeah.
Like the performance, not the lucky shot.
Yeah.
The performance. Different. He fought well. And do you know what? This has somehow become a Jack Catterall appreciation podcast, but you have to appreciate it. Yeah. I love Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor's the Sky Sports fighter, the home fighter. He is incredible. He's done the most ridiculous things in the sport, and now we'll go off into 147. But Jack Catterall, take a bow.
Pat yourself in the back.
Take a bow. What a performance.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't even know what else to say really. Look,
neither do I.
Let's see what happens. I'm sure by next week there will be some movement. As we said before, Robert Smith is putting the board under investigation for the result. It got brought up in the House of Commons in Parliament.
House of Commons.
Yeah. Where is it? Speaker of the House of Commons, Sir Lindsay Hoyle, who's also the MP for Chorley, obviously where Jack's from, has appealed to the sporting minister for an investigation. So there is national outrage. So, yeah, this isn't going to be the end of it. I'm sure this isn't the last time we'll be speaking about it.
But I'm going to put a wager on now.
Go on.
This decision is not getting overturned.
Yeah.
No way. That would set such a crazy and dangerous precedent for the sport. Look, I'm for anything that's good for the sport. And if everyone scores that and looks at it again and decides, no, that was so far out that we actually can't justify it, then cool, that's one thing. But you start doing that.
There is still an argument for Josh. I'm seeing. Look, as I said at the very start, people are almost just shocked. Not shocked, but just part of the surprise coming from how well. When we spoke to people during fight week, we were going to do a predictions video, and we actually didn't put it out because literally every single person was saying Josh Taylor.
Yes.
Josh Taylor. Jack's not got a chance. It could have been a first round knockout by Josh, and you'd be thinking, oh well, yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's more the fact that Jack put on a career high performance, and with a style that we'd never seen from him before. So it almost, as the rounds are going, you're thinking, oh yeah, no, go on Jack, go on Jack, and every round you're sort of just getting caught up in what Jack is doing.
So there is a danger of that. There is 100%.
I want to go back and watch it a couple of times.
So just to make sure I wasn't doing that. I watched it.
I've seen the highlights, but I want to just sit and really just watch it again. But then on the flip side, when you look at the punches landed, it was double. I'll be interested to know the power punches. There's an argument that the way it scored was Josh maybe blocking a lot of the punches and was maybe not so many of Jack's punches really landing.
What's the solution? How do we score fights better? I thought about it at first. I thought unanimous judges. I mean, not unanimous, anonymous judges.
Did that not even make it worse?
I think then I realised it makes it worse because there's no one to be held accountable. They don't even exist. Yeah.
Jake Paul put something out, and I know that's a bit of a.
I saw it.
Not the best name to be bringing up, but he put. I think there should be 6 boxing judges for title fights, 3 pairs of 2s, and then each pair has to agree on the same scorecard at the end of the round. So if they don't, then there's a debate for reasoning, almost like a jury system. So these poor decisions can. Well, no, that was just some other bit. But at the same time,
I hear what you're saying.
That might not be so good in practice because if they're still just as biased or whatever it is,
I think
you don't
it's
get
not
anywhere.
The amount of people. I don't think it's the amount of people. I think it's the. I mean, it's nice, but what if you do end up in a debate and you're debating all the way through round 6 and 7 as well? Because it's just judges see different things. That's why you've got 3 of them. Over the course of a fight, I think we need something that brings it all together. And I think that the judges need to be judged. Mm-hmm. And depending on the magnitude, it's the same way referees are. And you can't just jump from a League One fixture into the Championship, into a Premier League fixture because you need to be ranked highly enough to do so. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying for 1 minute that the Premier League officials are the best in the world either, but they're the best we've got. Yeah. I think we need some kind of scoring system for the judges.
Yeah.
If we can score the judges score the fight, we score the judges, and how close you are to everyone else's opinion on the fight.
Yeah, I wonder. Do you do it like flipping X Factor and Eurovision and stuff, and all the fans just vote, and it's just like, oh, then you've
but
got.
But then fan bases decide fights. That's the thing.
True.
Look, in a perfect world, you want everyone to think the same way and to score things the same way. Unfortunately, we have judges. Some like aggression, some like boxing, and boxing on the back foot. Yeah. Some people like, and you're also forgetting they're on different sides of the ring. Yeah. Sometimes they can't even see what the others are seeing. They probably should have a monitor as well. They probably should be watching them from a monitor. I don't know.
Do they not have a monitor?
I don't think so.
I don't think they do, is it? Isn't it? I think, yeah. I don't know. Look,
we gotta fix this, man. Do you know what we need to do? We need to start scoring these fights. Like, actually scoring these fights at ringside. We're both there watching the fights anyway. Let's score them.
Well, that's what
let's score them all year.
I was doing it
all year long. Let's score them, and at the end of the fight, we compare our scorecards, and I want to know where we are, how close we are to seeing the same thing. Only then are we gonna understand what judges see. But when it's a close fight, do you know what I do? I instantly ask myself, who would I rather be in there? When it is close like that, who's getting their way? Who looks more comfortable? Who would I rather be? Is what it usually comes down to. And that's how that when it's a close one, because they try their hardest to not score 10-10 rounds, but I don't like that either because loads of rounds are 10-10.
Yeah, there was a 10-10 round that could have came in the fight on Saturday. I think either the second or the third. Yeah, that one I did give to Josh.
When almost nothing happens and no one gains an advantage, but you've got to give it to somebody. And I don't like the fact that you have to give it to somebody. Sometimes you don't.
Yeah, sometimes it can be a 50-50
Sometimes you
round.
don't. No one won that round.
Look, this is just a debate that we could literally be going on for every single week. Yeah. I'm sure, as I said before, there will be progressive news happening every single week. I'm sure by next Monday something new would have come up. Yeah, if you're Jack, let's just hope that he does get an immediate mandatory position for one of the belts as soon as they do get dispersed.
All of them. He should be able to go and collect them now.
He was ranked highest with the WBO in it, so that is in theory where he'll go first. Maybe there's something, but then it starts getting really political and very hard to map out. But in theory, the best way for Jack to sort of get like reimbursed is the wrong word, but you get what I'm saying. Yeah. Is let him fight for his title. If he wins that, whoever's fought for another title, he gets the man. He should be allowed.
He should be able to unify the next 3 fights.
Yeah, he should be allowed to be mandatory for every single belt, given that he wins every single belt. Yes. And then he can get the fastest route possible to undisputed.
Yeah, that's what I mean, undisputed. That's it. He should be able to, if he wants to, be undisputed in 3 fights.
My hope is that he doesn't retire.
Nah, I really hope he doesn't. I would feel hard done by, and I'm not sure how much I would trust boxing again, because I'd feel like I would feel cheated. Whether you have been or not is a different thing, but I would feel cheated. And you've got 2 choices at that point. You either walk away, but you're in a way you cut off your nose to spite your face when you do that. Yeah. You're one of the best in the world at what you do, and you're walking away from it. It's all you've ever known. Sit there, dig your heels in, go hard, win these belts. And the people, look, he's only gained a fan base, and he's gained a fan in me. I was already a fan, but he's gained a fan in me even more so. Do you see what I'm saying? People love the underdog. Yeah. People love the people that are that don't get what they deserve. You know. So I think, look, it's a big year for him, man. What a start to the year. Even though he didn't win it, what a start to the year. He definitely would have got more Instagram followers from that loss than from the win. Yeah.
Look, what a way to end the month, really. Yeah. When you think about what we've done in 3 weeks out of 4 weeks in February, it's just crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts.
3 sold out, huge domestic shows.
I would like to give credit to Baz quickly, yeah?
Yeah, shout out to Baz, because the shows he's been putting on. Nah, he does. He actually said the other week, where's my shout out? Because,
did it? Oh, yeah, I think he might have. Yeah. Listen, Baz, I'll be honest. That Kelbrook ring walk, the piano, the smoke, the atmosphere, the timing of it. Yeah. Everything was perfect. I got goosebumps. Yeah. The hairs were standing up on their ends. It was the best. That was easily, for me, the best ring entrance I've ever seen.
Yes, 1,000,000%. But he did it 3 weeks in a row. When he had the singer singing Delilah before Liam Williams. He had the piano before Kelbrook. And then he had, what's her name? Amy something.
Hey, listen,
Douglas, sorry, I forgot your name.
He's from a music events background.
Yeah.
Like, he knows how to get this stuff right.
He's done it in style.
He got it bang on.
These weeks were just, they were so special. They were so much fun to be a part of. The atmosphere every single fight night was just ridiculous.
Yeah. I was knackered though. I've been knackered.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
My gosh.
But we go again.
We go again.
We go again.
We go again.
We go again. The momentum is there now. Newcastle, London, Coventry.
Yes.
Plenty more to come after that.
Yeah.
You know, this is just the beginning. We're only October, November, December. We're 5 months into the Sky
deal. And
deal.
also 2 of those months, no boxing.
Yeah.
So there was. Hold on, wait. Even in November, was there? Did we have? What did we have? In
yeah,
November?
we had November 20. November the 6th was Boxer Series.
And then we had November
20. Yeah, December there was no boxing because of COVID, and then the same for January as well.
No, January there was no because of COVID. December there was supposed to be, but there was an injury.
Yeah.
So we had no boxing.
Yeah.
For 2 months, and we're still.
Yeah.
We're there. We're coming.
Yeah.
We're on our way.
Riding world champions to the stable every time. We got Savannah Marshall, who obviously had her title.
Yeah.
But she's now made the first defence. She'll be making her second. Tasha Jonas, Richie Riakpor's on his path. Florian Marcoux. Yeah, there's so many people.
Yeah.
We're just the stable's going to grow.
Yeah.
The fight night's going to continue.
And the good thing about what Riakpor's doing is he's putting himself in positions with different governing bodies.
Yeah.
A lot of people stay as number one and they just focus on the one. But
like Dillian
White, for example, you stay with the WBC and that's it. You just kind of wait for their call. Yeah, but either way, I like the way he's doing it because he's keeping all his options open. Because you just never know with boxing what's going to happen, who's going to decide to vacate, or you get a chance here, you get a chance there. It happens from anywhere, so it's good to just be in position for that.
But then on the flip side, you look at someone like Jack, who stuck with the WBO for literally 3 years, and then it paid off with the opportunity.
3 years is a long time.
It's a very, very long time.
It's a long time in boxing.
It's a very long time.
What he had to, he waited for his opportunity, and he allowed some of that because of the stepping aside for Josh Taylor. But it still doesn't always work out that way. You see people step aside and stay mandatory for years. You can't waste years. You know, you could be wasting your best years waiting for the WBO to or the WBA or the IBF or whoever it is to mandate you. So, look, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But whilst you're waiting, try and do whatever you can to stay in the rankings with someone else, I see.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Is there anything else you want to touch on?
No. Honestly, like how we've had to
nothing
address
more is needed to be said, really. And we can still go back and forth. We can still keep going over points. But look, when it's all said and done, Jack put on a career best performance. It was an off night for Josh. He still had his moments. He was still going well. He is still the undisputed champion. Let's see what happens with him. I mean, if you're him, I assume he's moving up to 147.
Good luck to them both, man. One's going to go out to 147 and try and dominate up there. The other one, who, will feel hard done by, will have to lick his wounds, bite down, again, and smash this 140 division to bits.
Yeah.
Simple.
This is his chance to have the bragging rights, really.
That's it. And we'll see it again at some point. In the next few years, we'll see it at 147. Let it marinate.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I'm the matchmaker. Right, we have one more announcement for everybody that entered to win the signed Josh Taylor and Jack Catterall gloves. I didn't even get one. I know. It's a good little prize to win.
It's
an amazing prize.
But the winner is Tony Grimshaw at Grimshaw72. We will be messaging you on Instagram. We'll be getting your address, sending you the signed gloves. But stay locked to the socials because we're going to be doing more and more giveaways. Like if I'm picking a prize.
Tony, when you get these gloves, just DM me because we're going to need to talk. We're going to need to talk prices because that's iconic gloves.
Yeah. For me, if I'm getting especially after everything that's happened, that's a bit of history there.
Yeah, that is.
But yeah, for me as a boxing fan, if I could get any sort of prize, it's signed gloves, it's signed memorabilia.
But we can get it anyway.
We should be, to be honest. I don't even get photos a lot of these times.
Neither do I.
You don't want to cross that work, that business / fun barrier.
Everyone else does.
I know.
Everyone else crosses the line.
I know, we might have to start doing it.
So I'm gonna start going up to people like.
Yeah.
May as well, man.
I've done it on a couple shoots and stuff, but during fight weeks, it just feels like we're there for business, innit? So
anyway, this is not the first or last time we're going to be at these shows. We'll be here for years. Yeah. We're good.
Yeah, but Tony Grimshaw, congratulations, well done. Everyone else, stay locked to the socials.
And keep entering. Because I'm going to enter now.
No, I'm going to start doing it as well.
This podcast was brought to you by Boxing Boys NFT. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the stuff that you know you should be doing, and stay locked in because we're going to be dropping exclusive news on this podcast every week. Mouthpiece, the home of unfiltered boxing. This episode is